Hey everybody, it's Bust with Expedition Trial number 483. Take a jump in, see what turns up. Something exciting, I'm sure. And okay, well, I mean, we can come out and pick up this Udyr if we would like. We have touched on Udyr once or twice already in Expedition, and this is like a reasonable-ish start. Like the Mark Wolf Shaman, I think, is actually pretty reasonable in Expedition. Flipping up to the 5/5 and drawing a card is a pretty good deal. And then Shaman's Call is kind of meh, though. So that would be a thing. Otherwise, these other archetypes, this isn't actually a terrible Yasuo. Maybe we should come in and get ourselves a final Yasuo video in before it's all said and done. I've always said with Yasuo that he feels like he's one card away from really just like popping off an expedition. He's like one stun from being like the bee's knees of excellence. It just turns out that like Concussive Palm was really close, and then the not the monastery, but the landmark, the new one that they recently nerfed, was getting him close, but. I guess we'll never get to see if that one stun ever makes an appearance. But why not? Let's come out here and draft this Yasuo. This will be fun. This is a pretty decent start as well with the Dancing Droplet and the Blade Twirler. And so we can get this one pulled up on the site. We'll just be over here at ftpbus.com, make our way to the Expedition Helper, get to the drop-down box, and make our way to Yasuo and Slice and Dice. And so, yeah, I mean, Yasuo, he's meant to be some kind of stun-based deck. Stuns and recalls are how he flips, and all three of his archetypes really help push us towards that. So Slice and Dice here pairs up with Kennen. You're going to have Solar Winds that pairs up with Leona, and then you also have Disruption that pairs up with Swain. And they all give you, some kind of interesting bonuses or advances. The big thing I always look for in terms of the stun type strategies is you want a unit that can stun, right? It's pretty terrible if we're just sitting around all day trying to get our stuns from the likes of, is it not even in here? It's like the Yasuo flip, it's like Steel Tempest isn't even in here. I'm pretty sure it's a rare. But, we can't be sitting around just playing Steel Tempests all day. And so from the stun perspective, we're looking for Arachnoid Sentry out of Noxus. We're looking for Stunbird out of Targon. Or out of Ionia, we're looking for Concussive Palm. This would be the big, strong one out of Ionia. And so if you're looking for stuns, that's the way to do it. The big and strong way to actually level up your Yasuo now, though, is with the recalls, right? So the Mourned is a fantastic one, easily recalling itself and replaying itself quite easily. Navori Conspirator is another very good early one. And so what this kind of like lends itself to is if you're like, well, I'm trying to play the Born, I'm trying to play Navori Conspirator, I would like to have an early game play so where I can play the Conspirator on 2. Wow, it looks like Dancing Droplet would be great. Now that I've already got 3 elusives in my deck, maybe I'll add in Navori Blade Scouts. And, once we've gone this deep on the elusives, we might as well just add in Green Glade Duos and be a full-on elusives deck. And so that's what this tends to devolve into. I do still like to keep around some of the stuns. They're, pretty practical in terms of just racing back and forth with your opponent. Our units are unblocked because they have elusive. Our opponents are unblocked because our elusives don't have any toughness. And so the stuns can be quite useful to, concussive palm your opponent's Udyr and then block something else and prevent like 11 damage in a turn. And so we will still look for them, but they aren't nearly as important as chasing down the recall factor these days. But we'll see what happens. We'll start with Yasuo. Maybe we'll draft around him. Maybe we won't. And a reasonable addition here with the Lulu. It's slightly interesting in that she's the Ionia champion, but adding in the Bandle City cards. And this is a decent set of cards. I'm not like the hugest fan of Fey Aid, but the Quick Quill is quite nice. Otherwise, can we do anything else with these other cards? Jumping into Freylord for Udyr doesn't seem that great. We're not going to have any combos for Bone Scryer. The problem with cards like Markworth Shaman and Udyr now, and something that we even see with Yasuo, is if we do go like big into this elusives package, then our late game big boys have to have Overwhelm, right? Say we've been attacking with Green Glade Duo and friends all day. Our opponent can't block them because they don't have elusive. So when we get up to like turn 7 and play a Yone, our opponent's just going to have a board full of dudes that can very easily block Yone. And so we're looking for some overwhelms. We could find that actually with Udyr if we're looking for some of the stance swaps. You always have access to the overwhelm swap if we go for Udyr. But in general, I don't think there's a lot of things we're looking for. And then we're definitely not looking for the Talia. And so this one, it's pretty closer than I think we're giving it credit for. I think if this Bone Scryer was the 2-cost 2/2 that generates a stance swap, I would be fairly okay with it. Right? If we can start throwing like stance swaps onto Yasuo and throwing them onto Yone and Mina just to get those big units through. That would be kind of nice. And then I think there's some overwhelms that live in this archetype that could be useful. We could also, reasonably easily flip some of these transformers with the use of elusives, and so something here might work. I'm not like familiar enough with this frolicking Fae archetype to be really amped about it, but we could be putting double strikes onto our onto our Greenglade duos, which I'm sure would be loads of fun. So yeah, let's go for that. Let's pick up the Lulu here, see how this shakes itself out. At the end of the day, I mean, there's a couple of things I think might be interesting here. There is a reasonable amount of like hand buffing stuff in Ionia, right? You're going to find things like Greenglade Elder, the Inspired Mentor at the 1-drop space, and then things like Jeweled Protector, the 4/4 for 5 that gets something +3/+3. And then putting those onto attach units is actually kind of interesting, right? If we give the Quick Quill +3/+3, and then it gets to attach onto a unit, that unit gets those bonus stats. Now, if that unit dies, we don't just lose out on all the bonuses because the Quick Quill still maintains them. So I could see some interesting combos coming out of this type of thing. And yeah, let's take it and see what turns up. And so first and foremost, I am still going to be looking for the Ionia-based cards. I still think chasing down this strategy that Ionia is where we want to be. We don't see any here, unfortunately, but there is a second Quick Quill. It's not going to be like amazing in our deck since we're not going to have tons of challengers, but I think this is going to turn out a little bit better than the likes of adding in Tornado Warriors. Definitely not adding in Targon. Okay, and so here's some cards, more in line with what we're looking for. This is a pretty decent disruption pack with the Concussive Palm and the Homecoming. We tend to look for Homecomings as opposed to Will of Ionias, right? A lot of times we do want to be bouncing our Dancing Droplets. We could even consider bouncing a unit that has an attach on it so we can put that attach somewhere else. And so a reasonable start here with these. Here it is. The combos here, picking up the old epic Papercraft dragon. I am on board. I think this will be sweet if we can get some double strike and elusives going. Should be loads of fun for our opponents to deal with. Okay, so pretty weak set of cards here. I'm not opposed to something like Furious Feyfolk. Again, we've made this big distinction with our late game plays that they need to be able to deal damage with Overwhelm or Elusive. That's typically Empyrean or something. But the Furious Feyfolk can punch in for damage with its impact. So I think that's where we'll go for here. I don't feel like we need hidden pathways in these decks. We tend to just have like plenty of stuff to do between Homecoming, away a Dancing Droplet, and drawing more cards and stuff. Okay, and so interesting set. Man, we're getting pretty deep into the Fae here. We haven't seen a single elusive up to this point. There is, still the elusive pack showing up. Disruption is the Yasuo archetype paired off with Swain, and I'm curious if this isn't what we just like need to take. We can't take the Darkness pack here. The Fae Aid I'm not super into, and then if things had gone perfectly, this Rainbow Fish wouldn't even be necessary, but. I worry about the elusive count we have at this point, but I've got to pick up the disruption. I'd really want to keep these elusives in check and visible. All right, here we just got to take the units with the Keeper and the Pathless Ancient. Everything else here is just is bad. Lead and Follow is bad. Orbital Contraption's bad. Okay, the elusives are not turning up. Which one is this? Summon ephemeral copies of the 3 strongest followers you've recalled this game. I've played this before for 0 units. I know that for certain. I'm not a huge fan of this. We don't have too many recalls at this point. I think we're just coming in for the rainbow fish. I mean, I could see the argument for taking an otterpus. It does play fantastically if we get the Devori conspirators, but man, we just have not seen any elusives this run. It's still turning up, right? Disruption is still here, but the units we want just aren't making an appearance. Okay, and so with this one, I think I'm leaning towards the Blade Twirler and the Lightning Rush. It is kind of awkward with all of these Blade Twirlers and then a big pile of Quick Quills, but he's one of our big important units. Just a single recall or a single stun with this guy gives us a big advantage on board, and if you ever get 2 or 3, he turns into quite the scary unit. Okay, here, we finally found a Conspirator. I'm not excited about the Solitary Monk, but we have to pick up these Conspirators where we can. I think we're still piecing towards this elusive stack. All right. We want Risu. I'm not amped about it, but she is paired off with a Woodland Keeper. And then the Stormcloud can be, a pretty reasonable target for Quick Quills, right? This is very easy to trade with the Stormcloud since it only has 3 health. And so minor combo, not a great one, but it's something we could do. Rainbow Fish combos with the Risu a little bit more. But I think we probably just need to be out here picking up something more on the expensive side of things. And so I think this will be okay. It's not ultra ideal, but it'll be fine. Here, I definitely want the Mourned. If we're taking the Mourned, I want the one with Event Horizon. Having these big AoE stuns can be exceptionally good with Yasuo. Alrighty, and our last one, I think we'll go for the Usari here. Again, this is like our preferred late game, as a lot of our units can't actually deal combat damage. And so Usari, the Empyrean, Windfarer, Hatchling, all way better than adding in. I was looking for an expensive one here, but say like the Matriarch, which just never deals damage. Okay, and then our last one here. How do we feel about these? I want to hang on to the Event Horizon, although we definitely want to pick up a Spirit's Refuge at some point. I'm just curious if, say, like, we pick up this Mina, if it fixes a lot of our problems, and then the game says, oh yeah, they are trying to draft recalls and stuns, and we just need something expensive. She is very expensive at this point, but I think that will be okay. Our curve isn't unreasonable at this point. Let's pick up the Mina. We don't have a lot of combos for this Assistant Librarian. I mean, we can chain attaches onto it, but that's very expensive. Okay, so you all do know what time it is. We have to go turn something a little bit premium. We have to pay for the pay-to-win lifestyle. Let's see what turns up here. Bandle City, Ionia. Are we on unowned? It's so weird seeing Greenglade Caretaker turn up. I just assumed that we would have automatically done one of those up to this point. And okay, so let's go with the Quick Quill, though. I think this is something we'll see some interesting plays coming out of. It's unfortunate if you attach the Quick Quill to a unit, it should then turn that unit like premium. If we have it doubled up, it should turn it like golden instead of just premium, right? Putting premium attaches onto premium units. You heard it here first, Riot. Get it in the game. Get to doing it. Put that programmer on it. Say premium plus premium equals gold. Easy peasy. I expect to see that in the big patch coming out in May. We'll see with that. Man, I'm curious what is to come of the Path of Champions. I've been like kind of dipping my toes into the water and trying to get into it, and so I might actually come up with some Path of Champion stuff here, but it ultimately feels kind of bad, just like knowing it's going away. I mean, I guess we're doing the same thing with Expedition, where we know it's going away, but we're still making content for it. The same thing kind of applies to Path of Champions, where they're going to be reworking the format. It feels a little awkward to make a bunch of content for it and then just have it go away, but that kind of is the life of digital card games anyways, right? I mean, there's not too many people going back and watching whatever was the popular Magic standard format like 8 months ago. Like nobody gives a shit. And so it was kind of nice with Expedition where some of the dated material was still relevant, but that's typically not the case with a lot of constructed formats. That applies to a lot of games, though, right? I mean, nobody's watching that raid from 2 expansions ago in the World of Warcraft, and so it's not like replacing a light switch and having that video out there forever, man. Praise to those people. Thank God. Soon as you youngsters go out there and buy a house and stuff, and you gotta change electrical outlets and light switches and do basic repairs that the boomers will look down upon you for having to look up on YouTube. Man, those dudes, like non-subscribers on YouTube, 300,000 views a video on how to change a light socket. It's fucking incredible. All right, though. What are we doing here? We have like one Fey in hand. If we want to pop off the Fey aid, it's not, exciting by any means. But like, what else are we gonna do? We can't add the Woodland Keeper. We're not particularly aggressive at this point. I guess if the Keeper trades for the 3/3, we're okay with it. I do want to get this off the board, though, right? It just lets him cheat. This is not a unit that we're excited for opponent to just maintain on board. Okay, so I guess he's might not be like too into the Fey if he's just going to throw the unit away, but that feels like a win. Okie stick to face. Uh-oh. Is he playing Gnar? Oh my god, he's going to Gnar us, isn't he? Welcome to the lands of constructed, my friends. Teeny Dactyl, similar enough. Okay. Uh-oh, we got our big booms, though. So we can, like, shut this down for a bit. It's a fine enough target to just block with the Blade Twirler, but we're going big with this Papercraft Dragon onto the spell-shielded unit. I guess the question would come down to, I mean, we don't really need to open with this Climber, right? We could just play the Fey Aid and give the Owlcat, the Quill, and the Dragon the bonus, so we'd be putting +3/+3 onto the Climber, which could technically make it lethal next turn if he doesn't block it. We can take this once, or do we want to go ahead and hit it with the Event Horizon? I think I want to get a little bit more board presence here. We'll just let this happen. It's not awesome, but we'll let it happen. Okay. Alright, dude. Well, here's the best I can do. Drop your 1/1. Here it comes. The smallest unit available.
We were never fated to bow.
Pantheon. Okay. It's going to attack with these two. We'll double strike down Pantheon here. Oh, good. We get to put some damage onto this dum-dum. All right, let's see how bad these things go. If he, in turn, like, puts a spell onto Pantheon, we can still group shot away his barrier and probably take him down. Wow. Wow. Put that one in the wow column for those of you keeping track at home. So unfortunately, like, we do miss out on our ability to just like OTK with this Climber, right? When Disciplines would take it up to 9, we get 18 and be really close to lethaling, but better than being dead. Doesn't matter what's in your hand if you're dead. So nice little addition there. So I think he's trying to figure out like what unit he can play and attach Rainbow Fish to and still win the game. And he's doing the mathematics on all his 3-cost units, and none of them are getting close enough. So that's kind of my analysis on what's about to happen here. And so this is tough because it's like I want to play something, but I don't want to have to like spend the event horizon just yet. Is this really just a group shot? No way. Can he ever lethal us with this? I guess that's the new question as well. He's at, if he rainbow fishes this, it's going to make it a 3. And then he's going to have 4 mana backed up. 5 for 4 mana sounds pretty tough to do. I don't think we can risk him not playing it, him just like passing to us. And then this does give us like a slight opportunity for lethal next turn with the Event Horizon. Probably not too common, but if he plays like a bunch of small units, we could potentially take something down. Zenith Blade. Okay. That's manageable. It would just take us to... It's going to flip, but it's only going to take us to 4. Okay. Now we can open. He has to block our climber with this dum-dum. Otherwise, he'll just die. Right? 16, 17. We can stun something if he blocks the Feyfolk. Okay. Check those 0 stuns, 0 recalls up to this point. That's how you get your Yasuo going. But alright, ideally here we'll just get a huge Mina. We'll see how he spends his mana. I wouldn't be surprised to see him like attach and open with the Librarian, but we're in a decent space here to where if he doesn't go for the open, we might get a good Mina. And if he does go for the open, then we at least have a stun. Not a guaranteed kill with the stun, since he can have bastions or spell shields. You know, Bandle City didn't have enough of everything, and so they had to give them the spell shield. But good chance we stop this. Excellent. Like everything already has quick attack. I guess we can play like the Woodland Keeper and then go ahead and attach on it. Is this going to kill us? 1 damage to all enemies. That'll pop the spell shield on our climber, which is slightly awkward. But I think we'll have enough stuff on board to try and punch through this. I'm definitely gonna play Mina and send both of his units back. We don't need to risk like him blocking our 2 biggest units and concussive palming something. Just like no, thank you.
Feet were made for roaming and kicking. Don't you dare!
Give him dim kicks. Oof. Okay, look at this. Jesus, everyone has quick attack today. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Alright, here comes the booms. Where are we at? Neg 15? Oh man, look at all these spells. Stun number 1. And a wallop. Still lethal. That's why I didn't want to open. I'm telling you, it's like, what can't Bandle City do these days? You have Wallop as the stun. You have Friendship as the thing that gives barrier or spell shield. And it's just, you just have to be ready for like literally everything. Like I'm fine with them being kind of like the jack of all trades, can do everything, but that stuff is still just way too cheap. I think what's going to realistically need to happen, and is I don't know. I think at this point you can realistically just say that Conchologist and Loping Telescope are a mistake, but I think that we're going to see some like heavy-ish moves in the upcoming future as to where I think Gnar is probably going to end up in this space to where he like loses a point of attack. And then I think that they're going to put his stun up to 4. So his stun flip is more expensive to do, and then you also can't Conchologist for it because it's one too expensive. It's like you can't go and remake the entire game just because Conchologist is too good. They just have to nerf Conchologist into oblivion. But I think that's one of the steps to help weaken up Conchologist, is that they're just way too many options that they could hit now. I'm really surprised that the barrier spell shield card doesn't just cost 3. They say fuck you, Fiora. We're making this cost 3 today. But nonetheless, and moving on, we are going to continue to pick up these Yasuos. A couple of recalls coming out of this, so not the worst. I would prefer to be hitting this Bandle Commando, I think, but Yasuo's here doing Yasuo things. Feels good. But yeah, I mean, I don't have all the answers in terms of balancing. I know Mogwai just put out a big post on his feelings on the format and disdain for the state of Nar and Bandle City. I don't know what that will amount to. Here, this is tough, right? We only have the one drop, so we can't get too much out of the Conspirator, but we have to hang on to a 3 just to make sure we have a play. But I'm not sure to what, like, degree Riot will really look into that kind of stuff, but he is kind of the unofficial community face of the game. There's just no denying the sheer volume of people that follow his content, and so I've never like ultra sure how I feel about that kind of thing, as to where I mean, he realistically has like a ton of sway in the game, and if he says, fuck this, we're not going to play Runeterra anymore, it's like it's quite a big blow. I mean, you probably have to add the next like 3 or 4 people combined to get the reach that he does in the community. And so when he's like calling for emergency patches, I'm curious to what degree Riot says, oh well, we gotta do it, since Mogwai's stirring up a fit. But it's a tough spot to be in. I'm sure that to a degree, I think the weird thing with this format now is we get to enjoy this Gnar that we have no way to interact with. Is I think with the format now, the thing that we're seeing is there is a ton of deck diversity, but that deck diversity is all Gnar, and so he did get to see, like, I think a couple videos or so ago in the lands of my constructed work, it's something like there was like, looking at Balco's site, there was like a pretty good collection of deck diversity, right? It looked like nothing was really over 5%. It was just like 8 of the top 15 decks or 8 of the top 12 decks were all sporting Gnar, and Gnar was like 25% of the meta, which which is just a little bit too much. But here, back to this, it's a little unfortunate with the likes of Quick Quill here. I'm not so much worried about the Gnar, right? We have the Steel Tempest, we have the Windsinger. I'm not upset that we had to take this Gnar hit. It's just, like, how much are we willing to come out here and just develop our board, as opposed to trying to deal with this stuff a little more powerfully. I think we're good to just, like, drop the Silent Storm. As the board stands now, I'm not upset to trade the 7/3 for either of these units. And then, like, if this is Pokestick coming onto the Silent Storm, that's pretty decent as well. And then next turn, if we get to just, like, Steel Tempest Gnar or get a Windsinger play, all of that seems pretty reasonable. This feels like a Pokestick onto the Risu. Oh, Sunburst onto Yasuo. Even better. Really? Gives up his Gnar over the Assistant Librarian. Is he just going to have another Gnar in hand? That's very strange.
Mama's got a gun.
Huh. So do we just go ahead and drop the Windsinger now? We don't interact with this board too well otherwise. I think this is fine.
Hope is on the wind.
There it is. Pokey sticks, you got it. Okay, that's not terrible. I assume he's just going to attack with the Bandle Commando and then play the Owl. Maybe not even play the Owl. They have a lot of Owl boosting stuff in these decks, but okay. Okay. The Conspirator turns up right as we lose our Risu. This seems like a fairly choice place to be dropping the Greenglade Elder. We just have like so much stats in our hand, and we're kind of the space to where the Papercraft Dragon's not winning this game anytime soon.
Stay safe. I'll take it from here. Walk softly, strike quickly.
Walk softly, strike quickly. Okay. So, I mean, he gets to kill our unit, but we still get the Papercraft Dragon back. Oh, no. He just bounced. Okay. Oh, this was a quick quill. Okay. I had in my brain that we were Papercraft Dragoning everything. that makes a bit more sense now. Okay.
Nature defies nature.
A little worrisome that he's making attacks like this. Like, this just kind of feels like one of these spaces to where he's going to try and chunk us down to like 10 and then play a gigantic elusive. Looks like he just actually has a bunch of combat tricks. That's fine. Yeah, let us get more boosts on our quick quill. Sure.
Well, this isn't the glade.
It's like Lulu's gonna be ready to come in here and attack, but we're not gonna have any real usage out of her ability. I'm looking to play the Woodland Keeper and Papercraft Dragon it. Is there a real need to do this? Well, we can lead with the Keeper. Let's at least start there. And then we'll decide if we want to just play Yasuo or not. Spot on with what was about to happen with the, in terms of the elusives. And Hugify. Alright, so a couple problems. I mean, there is the Great Beyond. He's not currently lethal with it, and if he tries to get too clever, we can block it with Solitary Monk, which is good, right? This is actually a decent space to be in. It does put, a ton of stats back into our hand, but now we can kind of like repick and choose where our bonuses are going. And so in this case, next turn we can Woodland Keeper with Papercraft Dragon. Yep, I was pretty certain he had a Meganar still. Can we ignore him? Oh, Lulu lost her stats, though. That's kind of sad.
Death is like the wind, always by my side.
If I must.
Okay, so we'll protect the Yasuo here, not die from the Great Beyond, right? And then now the idea is his Great Beyond has to block our Woodland Keeper next turn.
Yep, that tasted purple.
Oh boy. It's gonna be like this, isn't it? This is how it's gonna be. Yep. Alright. So is it ever worthwhile to put down the double strike? I mean, we could technically just play it as a unit at this point. It interacts positively with everything that they have. I think this is okay. Just a 4/4 double strike.
Some things never dull.
Off we go!
Doesn't feel great seeing him hold back the conchologist as well, but sure. Sure. All right.
Wondrous discovery.
So he's short of lethal at this point. I wouldn't be surprised to see whatever card there is out here to give the Great Beyond +3 attack. I'm sure he just drew it, but let's see what we can do. All right, we get an opportunity at another turn. Can flip the Yasuo. It's like I wish we could pick up Overwhelms or something somewhere. I think we can hang on to the Homecoming. If it's like, well, there's kind of like two angles to this, right? It's going to be like, do we ever want to like replay any of these units that isn't Fate Blade Twirler? And I don't think so. We can maybe get ourselves out of this if we draw the Mina anyways. Concussive Palm. Interesting in that it we can play 2 spells onto the Great Beyond to get out of that.
Whoa, Disney. And Hugify. Go!
And Hugify. Let's start with this and see where it gets us.
You did it!
Easy does it.
So how much of this do we realistically want to go for? I'm like pretty okay with some of this, but it's like if we can't just like send back the Great Beyond at this point. I think we just have to accept this. Lulu can still block the White Flame. Okay, assume he's just going to open. So, do we want to send it back to hand, or do we want to stun and pick up the unit? Right? If we concussive palm this, we don't get the unit back, right? Oh, we do get the unit. Okay. But we would have to return, like, Yasuo? Okay. So we want the concussive palm on the right. No, we want to send the unit back to his hand. Right, because we still get the concussive palm this way. The unit goes back, and then if he wants to get it on board, he has to spend the 1,000,000 mana for it.
No one is promised tomorrow.
No one is promised tomorrow.
I know.
Preach it like it is, my dude. Preach it like it is.
Sleep is for the guiltless.
We're still a little bit short on damage, but we do have like help picks to maybe manage some of these blockers.
I'm back. I don't know why.
That might have just done it. He plays 1 unit, and then we get to the concussive palm gets through.
Let's use all the colors.
So he has a block on Lulu, a block on Yasuo. He gets impacted for 4 and Tail the Dragon for 4. Nope, that's a game of Runeterra for you. Oh, what a bummer. We definitely don't have anything we can draw at this point. Oh, just literal everything coming out of these factions. It's so insane. All right, on to the next one. So what are we going to do here? I think we should get rid of these Fey aids. These aren't really doing anything. Whimsy's not spectacular, but the Fey aid just isn't doing enough, even boosting up the Papercraft dragons and the like. Man, what a frustrating set. This is like you get to read into it perfectly, and it's super easy to play onto Conchologist. You just say, okay, what is the absolute worst card our opponent can play for 3 mana or less, and then they'll just have it every time. Like, I know that's a bit of hyperbole, but it is like extremely, 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 extremely common for your opponent to just have literally the correct answer almost every single time. Then you get to stack that on top of the other value that you get to see from cards like Pokestick. It's just it's ultimately a fairly frustrating experience for me. But all right, on to the next one. I think this is a reasonable keep. The Librarian on 2, Quick Quill on 3. Maybe we get rid of the Concussive Palm, but it is kind of our only way to interact with Poppy. All right, we'll keep it. Let's get you down, Librarian. Get you down. It's gonna prank it. Nope. But no, I think like the very much the thing with Conchologist. It's I've made mention of Stoneforge Mystic in the past and the problems that it presented for Magic. If you're not familiar with it, there's equipment in Magic that would essentially just be like what an attach is now, and it would let you search your deck for an attach and put it in your hand, and then it would have the ability to put that attach on the board for cheaper. And so what that essentially did was, like, in the current format that it was in, it was, somewhat reasonable. But in the kind of the grand scheme of things, they had to design every single attach for the remainder of the game with the understanding that that Stoneforge Mystic existed, and the legacy type archetypes were just going to get abused by that equipment every single time. And they eventually just said, "Fuck it, this is this isn't worth the effort. Let's just let's get rid of this one card, and now we can get back to designing fun cards again." And I feel like that's kind of the space that you'll find Conchologist is every single time Riot wants to design a card that costs 3 mana or less, they have to ask themselves, how ridiculous is this if opponent gets to play Conchologist with it? And it feels to me like a card that they should, fairly swiftly and reasonably just say, I don't want to, I don't want to deal with that anymore. Let's just get rid of it. But all right, back to the action here. Reasonably happy enough to get the Woodland Keeper going with the Quick Quill, and then we have the Twin Disciplines in the background. We lose our ability to block this Bandle Commando next turn, but I don't particularly care about this Bandle Commando at this point. It is like slightly awkward. He can drop all of these owls, but it'll just take us some time to clean through. Still have our Mina, still have our Concussive Palm to interact. We have this Rainbow Fish for whenever it's time to just go elusive. All seems pretty decent to me. What you got? Oh, Papercraft dragons. we have some of those. While attacking. I just had to double check it wasn't going to do that stupid ability while it was blocking. But we feel really safe with this Twin Disciplines now. Says, oh, Bust, you bring in a lot of heat today. Interesting, he puts the block onto Yasuo with this dum-dum. I guess that kind of makes sense, but I mean, he doesn't actually kill the Yasuo. I get boomed. The big tempo plays coming through. Got him. That's tough, though. That's tough if you're having to play defensive Papercraft dragons. Like, that can't feel good. Just putting 5 mana on a unit to give it +2/+2 defensively. Hopefully, we don't have to get those feels. But let's see. What are we doing here? I don't want to really like trade away these assistant librarians. It's not like super ideal, but we're really lacking in early game stuff, right? We've seen one conspirator, we've seen the one dancing dropout that we started with, we saw 0 blade scouts, we saw group the Mourned in there as well. We've seen the 0 Greenglade duo, 0 Shadow Assassins, and so the deck we're looking to assemble hasn't entirely come together, but it seems like the pieces are starting to make an appearance. But at least coming out of a hand like this, I think I'm okay to get rid of the Furious Feyfolk. It was nice in that previous game against the Invoke guy, but it doesn't really have a home in a deck like this. All right. All right, a whole bunch of Challenger stuff, but with Freylord. Interesting. Reasonable-ish start. If we were on the odd attack, I would feel much better about this. Being on the even attack, it feels slightly awkward with the Lulu and the Climber and such. Maybe we just get rid of the Climber, hang on to Lulu, look for a cheaper play. Did not find it. It's just like ultimately we run into this weird space to where like I don't really want to attack with Lulu if we don't have the Twin Disciplines, but then I also don't want to attack with Lulu if we don't have another unit to boost. And this Mourned is not the best unit to be boosting, but we'll manage. Get some bigger boys online next turn.
All the color. Up we go.
Demacia shall prevail.
Yeah, this is such a big Event Horizon if we can pull it off. Get to Event Horizon the first blade, stun everything else, level up our Yasuo. Oh, he makes an appearance. Oh, we're totally doing this next turn. We only have 7 mana though. What's his angle? He didn't put the Tattered Banner under Renekton. I think I'm okay with like giving up on Lulu. I feel like a lot of the time with this turn we're gonna have to just Twin Disciplines Yasuo and give up on Lulu, but I'm okay with that. This is gonna be like Ruthless Predator or something. Very weird he didn't put Banner down though. Okay.
Blessed by snow and stars. At your signal.
Interesting. He didn't even hook it with Renekton. Weird. He'll pull that back. All right. Here's where we're gonna boom them. We're just gonna open here and use the Lulu to boost our Yasuo. If we lose Lulu at the end of the day, I'm not super worried about it. But I think this is going to bring quite a bit of magic.
You don't understand.
Man, the downside to the event horizon though is that it's only going to put 2 damage onto Renekton. I think that's okay. We need to get our Yasuo flipped. Looks like it's going to kill 3 dudes. Does it also kill the Renekton in the process? I didn't see his highlight.
I follow only
Get boomed. Nice. LOL. Who knows how to have fun? This guy. This guy right here knows what having fun's all about. Oh, snap. That was pretty awesome, wasn't it? That's what we played the game for, my friends. That's what we played the game for. Got a loping telescope. Wouldn't be opposed to having some loping telescopes in this deck. Why aren't all of our recall targets just conchologists and loping telescopes so that we can you can actually conchologist into Steel Tempest and then not feel horrible about having Steel Tempest in your deck. Okay, the Mono Demacia Dragons. Let's see how this one goes. I don't think I want to keep group shot in this matchup. It just doesn't kill anything. Okay, and so the classic problem of Greenglade Elders in that do we want to play the droplet and then miss out on the stat bonus? And I think this is actually okay. This is one of the few units that we want to come out here and be playing recalls on. We aren't expecting too much damage out of this. It might realistically deal more damage coming down on turn 1. Then we're not going to play it until like turn 4 or turn 5 with the boost. And of course we just draw the Conspirator. We're pretty good at this game. Pretty good. I don't want to say the best, but and I do like the space that this Greenglade Elder is going to be in. I don't think we'll play him until next turn. Let's just go ahead and get this Woodland Keeper going. Hit for all of the elusive damage here, and then he should be ready to attack with a Quick Quill, making him a 5-attack quick attacker, ready to take down some of these dumb dragons. I mean, there is a world where we realistically just want to play Solitary Monk and return both of these, but... What? Oh, okay. They say, hey, Bus, do you want a tasty little 2-for-1? Don't mind if I do. So, I want to be like really cutesy with this and like play the Greenglade Elder or play the Solitary Monk and get all these combos going. But at the end of the day, that's gonna be that's just a little bit too greedy. Is it? Is it though? It's tough to pass up on that kind of value. But I think we'll be passing on it today. Just get these elusives going. We'll still get potentially get a big boom with Greenglade Elder. Like if he taps out for a Challenger Dragon here, then we can just go for it. Squad ready. You could have another Ranger's Resolve or a Radiant Strike or something, but we're pretty okay with that at this point. You didn't want to hook my 5/3? So what do we do here? We could try and Twin Disciplines through this. It's just with our opponent at 3. I'm feeling pretty decent about this anyways. Is this the space, though, where we would consider playing a Solitary Monk? Like, we can Monk. We don't have Another 1-drop for our Conspirator, though. I wonder, this could be bad if he plays like a 6-mana spell here. If he plays like a Reinforcements. Okay, that's annoying, but not the end of the world.
No reinforcement.
Ooh, we do have this Yone in hand. I don't think we ever really go for Yone, though. Definitely want to get this Dum Investigator off the board, but what's his angle here with the 3 mana? I think this is good place to stop. We're not anywhere near dying, so we can just take the 3. Okay. I think this actually works out better anyways. The being able to play the Solitary Monk, return the Keeper, replay the Keeper, and then attack with the 2 elusive units is probably where we want to be.
Swift and silent as the breeze.
Still got all Twin Disciplines in hand here. So we beat Concerted Strike now. He has to have 2 spells.
Agonizing, I know.
Got him. Nice. Okay, so what are we doing? Never get rid of Papercraft Dragon. I mean, the Librarians are nice, but I think, again, like we're pushing and pushing and pushing towards being this this elusive style deck, and we're just getting closer and closer as we, get these Fey type cards out of our deck. Hopefully, it'll just offer us up Green Glade duos in the future, but Dancing Droplets right where we're trying to be. All right. The battles continue. I'm trying to think of the last time I had to play against a Poropot. As soon as Riot goes out there and says they're taking this format away, people start playing it again. You got to spend all those tokens before it's gone. Porobot. We may never battle the Porobot ever again. I mean, I have occasionally fired up a game just to get a screenshot or something, but an actual battle with the Porobot. All right, what do we got here? Pantheon Gnar. Sure thing. Let's see. This is not a start. Again, I'm not happy to be keeping the Green Glade Elders, especially against a deck that's going to be chock full of Pokey Sticks, but we have to have a play before turn 3. And we picked up a 1 and a 2, which is nice, but you can't find yourself in this space to where you don't play any cards by the 3rd turn. So we'll risk it. Picked it up. Looks good. Great start with the Mourned and the Blade Twirler as well.
These jewels are more than mere trinkets.
Maybe he won't attack. He fears the trade with the Mourned. All right, if you're not familiar, the Mourned will Nexus Strike, Recall, and then turn the Blade Twirler into a 3/3 quick attacker. Let's see, 3/3. Opponent does not realize their stackers are about to get boomed. I myself have made the same mistake. Cupcake. Boomed him real hard. Sorry, dude. I know. I've 100% done that myself before. I didn't play tons of Constructed until they took Expeditions away, and just occasionally running into Ari Kennen or whatever, and having to get boomed by the get boomed by the play there with the Mourned is kind of sad and frustrating. So sorry you hadn't seen that one, opponent, but I knew what was about to happen. But here we get the Green Glade duo. Excellent. This is exactly who we're looking for. The solitary monk, played reasonably well here, but the Green Glade duo is just exactly where we want to be. I remember the days back in the day when people would play nothing on 1 and 2, play the solitary monk on 3, and then play standalone on turn 3 to make it a 6/6 elusive. This is the best deck in the game there for a while. Just doing that with Fiora and with solitary monk. That's why you see standalone cost 5 or 4 mana now. I'm curious if that would even be like one of the more powerful things you can do now. Now that like stuns are so much more relevant, there's so many more, so many more other ways to kind of like interact with that unit. There's a bunch of silences now. This is before the era of Hush. So, at any rate, interesting space here. I don't really want to have to trade an Avori Conspirator for the bird. But I think that's kind of where we're at. We just fall like really far behind if our play is like the Mourned. It doesn't feel good. You can trade. I'll allow it. Get this Woodland Keeper. Man, we're just not going to have any units to combat here. Well, maybe we do just play the Mourned and the Dancing Droplet and save the Keeper for a little bit later. I think I'm okay with that. Like, Droplet the Mourned, we attack, replay the Mourned. That gets us up to 2 recalls for Yasuo. Yeah, I'm okay with it.
Break the silence.
I live for those who do not.
Lightning Rush. Okay, it's like maybe we don't like playing the Mourned here on that previous turn, and we should have just like banked the mana, played Yasuo, and then a turn from now play the Mourned plus Yasuo again.
But left my range.
Bring in the spell shields, huh? With the 2 mana backed up, or are we just like running directly into a Pale Cascade today? It's like. Well, he can't challenge our Yasuo with the Pale Cascade. It's like, I'm okay if we play Yasuo, block the Yulia, then he Pale Cascades onto Yasuo. This is okay as well. The thing that would have been a disaster where I was going is if we block the Ruined Dragon Guard and he Pale Cascades and then protects his unit in the process. We can't have that happen. That's a little bit too much. An opponent just gonna pop our best unit with a concerted strike. Oh, Garen. Okay. We're like ready to handle the likes of Garen. We got a lightning rush to pull something out of combat. We have the Yone for 2 turns from now. I think this is reasonable. Do we just need to give up on the Blade Twirler at this point? I feel like we probably do. Send that damage right to the face place.
Here's our chance. Hide for a moment, run forever.
So we do have a lethal lined up here. I don't suspect that this is good all of the time, right? We can Yusari gets us up to 7. I think that's where we want to stop. Have the mana for Concussive Palm if we want.
I bear a message from. Oh, hey, what's that?
Again, this is still no guarantee of lethal. They have a lot of single combat-y kind of cards in these decks. I wouldn't be surprised to see something get aced by Garen. What? We got there. We were within that window of sweetness, I guess. The window of sweetness, right where I like to be. Cool, so how are we going to finish this one off? Man, I don't want to trade Papercraft Dragon away. It's offering us up the Greenglade Duo. This is realistically the trade, but if you're playing for the memes, you definitely want to hang on to the Papercraft Dragon. So we're going to skip over all of these. Into the next one, I do like having the one Event Horizon. Let's pick up the Conchologist down here for the Climber. Up here, we have one copy of Mina, which is enough. Horns of the Dragon would be a tempty and juicy addition if it wasn't for trading out the Rainbow Fish. We just have the singular Rainbow Fish. If we can't give the horns elusive, it's not that great. This is the close one, though. We should probably be picking up the Minimorph. But I've been like really happy with these Quick Quills in our deck. Even if now at this point, if we're just putting like Quick Quill onto Conchologist, just having that full ass board of Quick Attackers coming in, right? We've certainly had these games where we had 6 Quick Attackers coming in all at once. I think I just want to keep the aggression here with the Quick Quill. Okay, we'll keep the Twin Disciplines. Don't want Jeweled Protector. Keeping the Conspirator. We'll skip over all these. Conchologist is good. Fey Guide is kind of in that space to where I could be convinced to pick it up. You just go for the full combo, right, with the Papercraft Dragon onto Yasuo with the Fey Guide, but let's hang on to the good interactivity here in Group Shot. And our last one, keeping the Dragon, keeping the Moor, and keeping the Keeper. Okay, easy peasy. Let's battle. Right. So it feels good. Take those Nardex down. That's that's what life's all about these days. Try to stay positive about it. I don't know. I don't have all the answers to how to fix it. It's a really strange place to be in terms of game development. With if the cards are just like bad, then it's not fun to play. The new cards come out and you can't get excited about it. I had to live through a few of those eras in Magic as to where the Urza's block set was incredibly powerful. One of the most powerful blocks of all times. They had to just emergency ban a bunch of cards as soon as it came out. And then they followed that up with Mask's block, which is arguably the weakest block of all time. And that was just kind of a reaction to the strength of the Urza's block. And I'm not completely sure how I feel about that stance as to where the new cards are just like so bad as a knee-jerk reaction to the old cards being so good, because it's just like no one's just going to play them anymore, right? It's like if the old cards are extremely good, then when the new set comes out, you just don't play any of the new cards, and that's ultimately one of the things these developers are going to run into. And I'm usually pretty on board with things being a little overtuned as compared to undertuned, but now that we're in like the digital landscape, it's like I'm curious if the kind of gold standard shouldn't just be like expecting a new patch 2 weeks in. But nonetheless, we're up against the Porobot and Zed. Slightly scary collection of cards coming at us. I feel this is an okay board to just we could play the Quick Quill and block the Navori Blade Scout, but I think we're in a decent enough space to where we can play for a bit of value. We can get the Greenglade Elder down, and then if he drops Zed and opens with Zed next turn, we can still Homecoming something away. But just a pretty big hand here. If we can start to go stat for stat on board, it's pretty tough for him to come back and beat us. So here I'm going to play the Woodland Keeper, get a block onto the Shadow Assassin. Greenglade Elder has done his last dance, or whatever this guy does. Be taking 4 from these real turds, and we're starting to build back up. This looks good. So I think we should be able to play a safe Quick Quill next turn, and then it'll just be a matter of we got an additional unit in the Dancing Droplet. Nice.
Hey, Krabby.
That's my resting face.
Quick Kill, unit form. Let's see if we can't go ahead and trade our Green Glade duo for his Kinku Lifeblade. This would be like a pretty savage Twin Disciplines for health if he has it, but if he doesn't, you know, our board is continuing to grow and pick up. I think this is fine.
They cannot strike what they cannot see.
Only take 1 damage this turn. Pretty good, pretty good. So the 4/1's just going to die no matter where we block, so let's put it on the big unit. Everything else will come and block small units. Now we're going to Homecoming away our Dancing Droplet into the Lifeblade. Let's make sure that we kill off the appropriate, right, the actual summon units we want to kill off. We don't care about leaving the Brigands behind. Take the 1 from the Brigand. Okay. I thought this was going to be a deny, and I was like, oh, that's kind of bad. We lose our unit, we take the damage, we don't get to draw a card, but no, he's just protecting his bad unit here. That's A-okay with me. Two recalls for old Yasuo at this point. And I think I'm good to just get like Papercraft Dragon going, like not on a unit, just on the ground and booming. And so let's drop the Conspirator. Not planning. I mean, maybe we do just Papercraft Dragon the Conspirator. No, not now that he has an elusive. What a weird game. Just dropping all the fairies down. No attaches. Nah, man, attaching's not for me. Okay. Zephyr Sage. Haven't seen you in quite a while.
I have come to the unforgiven.
Alright, and this should be pretty close to done now. Our Yasuo is going to flip, and then I'm just going to open with Mina next turn and kill whatever his 3 biggest units are. That should be enough to end the game. Nice. It's kind of cool to get the full combos going right at the end, you know, as we're probably not going to have another Yasuo draft before it's all said and done. Nice to finish off Yasuo's time in Expedition with the big Mina boom all over his units.
Cannot escape.
Looks like Neg 6. Cool, got him. So yeah, that was a pretty interesting draft. Hang on, we'll get this going. I quit using LOR Guardian, so we can't just pull it up anymore. But I think we hit on, you know, a lot of the high notes here, and where we really saw Yasuo progressing to in terms of Expedition is that you know, it comes down to that Navori Conspirator, right? And a lot of the angles and a lot of the lines in deck building you would see are, okay, well, the key to my strategy is Navori Conspirator. You see this a lot with Yasuo, you see it with Kennen, you see it with Ahri. They say, okay, my build around card is Navori Conspirator. And so if you're going to play Navori Conspirator, the next step is saying, like, well, the Mourn is a great recall card, and Dancing Droplet is a great card to bounce for the Conspirator. So now I've already got these 3 elusives in my deck. You know, if I want to have some more 1-drops to boost or to bounce with the Navori Conspirator on turn 2, that's looking at Navori Blade Scout, which has elusive, and it's looking towards Inspired Mentor, which gives the +1 attack to a unit. And then, like, once you have that core of stuff, you're just like, well, fuck, I'm just going to play elusives today, aren't I? And so that's where the deck usually drifts towards. Again, it's not just Yasuo, it's anyone that wants to see the recall archetype. So that's Yasuo, Ahri, and Kennen at this point. And that's, you know, the common line for these. If you want to go like the full stun route, again, the importance is going to be in having units that stun. So within Ionia, you have Concussive Palm. Within Noxus, you have Arachnoid Sentry, the Stun Spider. Within Targon, you have Leona herself, and then you also have a Stun Bird. Good no fucking idea what Stunbird's actual card name is. It has been Stunbird since its release. But that is the typical way you're looking to build up your stuns. If you're just playing Steel Tempests and even things like Gnar Stun, Wallop, whatever that's called, that you're just going to get card advantage out of the game. And so recalls are the preferred way to go. If you are looking for stuns, then make sure you have units that have the stun abilities as opposed to just the spells. Also, it's nice to have an AoE if you can. But I guess last but not least, the big thing to remember in terms of gameplay and kind of general... oh, we got a kitty. Come on, bud. And just like general game planning and styling and deck building is, if you are an Elusives deck, the late game units that you have need to have either Overwhelm or they need to have Elusive. They have to have some way to punch in damage. You could see in a lot of these games to where we were just punching with Papercraft Dragons and ground-based units, and they just get blocked every turn of the game. That's why we were seeing it was oftentimes quite useful to just put the Papercraft Dragon on the board so the opponent has to block it. But you have to keep that in mind with your units. And so you prefer to have things like the Empyrean, Windfarer Hatchling. If you're in Noxus, then you can look to like Armored Elephants or whatever. But you can't just be playing these big units that can't deal any damage. Like Yone kind of gets a pass because of the stun. Mina kind of gets a pass because of the triple recall. But you can't just play these giant stat-based units and hope to have some success. Plaza Guardian is not the unit you want to be attacking with. So, at the end of the day, man, that was I feel bad for Yasuo. It's like every time the set comes out, there's just like one card that comes up and you're like, all right, maybe this is it. Maybe Yasuo was ready for the big time in Expedition, punch his way up from tier 3 into tier 2. But we're not going to get to see that in the future. And so a little unfortunate for him. I'm curious if he'll ever have a time to shine in Constructed in PvP. I doubt it. It's just kind of unfortunate for him as being kind of a really popular League of Legends character, and then he just hasn't translated into a meaningful champion in Runeterra. And I'm curious if he'll catch like a bit of Ashe treatment or whatever, where they made Ashe flip on 4 Frostbites instead of 5. You could see something like that happen with him in the future. And I'm not entirely certain how things were supposed to be happening with the roadmap. It kind of feels like they're pushing a balance patch like a month from now, but it's supposed to be towards like tuning older cards. And so I don't think the intent was for Riot to come in and be tuning like Gnar. I think this was like, we want to go and do something with Katarina and these older champions that don't really have too much going for them, kind of a rework. And I don't know. I kind of suspect that, if you want to make a Katarina skin and you want to sell it, then she has to be a good card. And so I'm not entirely surprised to see that kind of thing lead a bit of the design work. But she doesn't get played, and that makes me sad. She's one of my favorite champions anyways. Nonetheless, we're getting a little rambly here. I hope this one was good for you. I hope you liked what we put together here. Maybe learned the way of the stuns. Man, I don't know if it should be about the AoE stun or about the Papercraft Dragon. We'll go with the Papercraft. So, I hope everyone enjoyed the video. You learned how to Papercraft your Yasuo just a little bit better. Go full origami mode with him. Maybe learned a thing or two along the way. Had a good time watching. This is Bust, and we thank you for being here.